Everyone, and welcome to this month's Instructor Community Call. My name, as always, is Kyle Rosenthal. So today, I said a little bit of sort of like, same as sort of last month, in that we'll just get a little bit of a welcome. I've got a roundup of some new courses from the Microsoft space that are coming online. And then just because it's worked quite well the last couple of months, just if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to start putting those into the chat window, and then I'll run through those. Otherwise, we will then run into our instructor recognition, and then a roundup of the various different resources. So that's me when I'm dressed up and all fancy, and obviously not today. But yes, I am a Microsoft certified trainer for going on 26 years now, as well as the program manager for our events team here at Skillable. All right, so but as I said, welcome to you for joining us. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for spending some time with us. Really do appreciate it. It's always good to see some familiar faces as well as some new faces that join us as well. So just a couple of updates for some of our Microsoft courses. There's a couple of new courses that have been released recently. The AI 3008, AI 901, and the AB 6002. So the courses and the labs for those have been released onto the platform. So if you haven't started looking at those already, then don't forget that as an MCT, if you're an MCT on our platform, you do have access to all of the Microsoft certified labs to be able to access. So you can actually go and start doing some prep and that thing on your own within there as well. In addition to that, we do have some in-development labs. So these are the ones that are coming soon. I would expect them to be sooner rather than later because they've hit our in-development page. So that's the AI 300, AI 103, GH 300, so that's the GitHub Copilot, and then the DP 800 course. For any of those courses and any of the updates for those, if you do wonder where things are at, if you go onto the skillable.com page, skillable.com/mock, M-O-C, and that will get you to our mock page, where Microsoft official courseware page. And then if you scroll down within there, that's where we sort of have the latest and greatest news about what's coming out. So what we're currently working on and putting in place, and then also what's been recently released. So you can kind of keep a track within there. In addition to that, on that same page, you'll look like if there's anything that's being retired, and that's then we'll have some links into there. Obviously, the retirement for things like courses, etc. They are tied to Microsoft and how Microsoft are wanting to have their courses treated and run, etc. So therefore, you'll see sort of like a tie-in from within there across into some of the Microsoft announcements around what's going in for the for when courses are going to be in and out. All right. So as I said, it mentioned sort of at the head, it's going to be a bit of a slightly different one from say, for instance, some of our more larger calls, and that we when we've got guests in. I do have a few guests in mind. I'm just trying to get them lined up to come in. So hopefully next month I can have at least one of them join us. But in the meantime, because it has worked quite well, sort of being able to answer questions and that sort of thing that folk have had. If you do have any questions, now is the time to swing them out. So basically, if you want to type into the chat window, or alternatively, if you want to put it into Q&A, or you can also come off mute and join us on the stage. From memory, the way we do that is by going to raise your hand, and then we can invite you up onto the stage to ask a question if you like. But But yeah, so one of the things, and like I'll answer a question that got asked of me during the month, so it's last week, which is one that I know has been asked a couple of times, that people are like, but either we haven't. Folk haven't known what the answer is, or haven't heard what the answer is. That's the thing. Or alternatively, you haven't had to deal with it, so therefore haven't been forgotten the knowledge because you didn't need it. Is if you're on one of those courses that has a tenant which expires, so which has the limited times, the 7 days to be able to do it, but you're wanting to run a weekend course, right? And so, like, there was, someone asked me during last week about, hey, look, I've got this course that I'm running over four Saturdays, but it's one of those courses that has the 7-day expiry. What can we do? Now, the answer is, unfortunately, there is no way to be able to get directly around it, right? The 7 days is a hard limit on the tenant, so it will expire. That's one of the restrictions that comes from the tenant as it gets supplied to us from Microsoft. So what it does mean is that there's one or two things to do. One is that you change the way that you do your training, right? And then what I mean by that is that you essentially say, rather than having your rather than doing your labs, so do lecture, lab, lecture, lab, lecture, lab, as we would normally do. Instead, look at doing potentially lecture, like do all your lectures and then have like a day of labs. Now, I know that that's not ideal, right? That's not the way that we want to do these things. Like, it's not the way that as a trainer, you want to be able to do things, because you want to sort of reinforce your training by doing the lab at the end of one of those, at the end of your sessions. That's the thing. But working within the bounds of the restrictions as to what we've got to be able to do, like how they're presented, that's one method to be able to do it. The other method, and this may not work for all of the labs, because of the nature of those, most of those will have a build function. So therefore you have to sort of build, get to a point, and then you kind of work from there. And then as you're working through module 1, module 2, or lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, etc., kind of building on what's happened before. But just remember that you can relaunch labs. So even if the tenant has expired, you do have the option to be able to restart. Now, when you do restart, of course, you're starting from scratch. So this is why I said it may not be necessarily suitable for all labs or for all courses, but there are some courses where, say for instance, there might be like some scripting you can run to start off with, which sort of does that base build, and then maybe for module 3, you don't actually have to complete module 2 to be able to get to that. Now, that's going to depend on the individual course, but there is that option as well. So you're not simply tied to, you only get one go at the 7 days. You have a limit of 7 days from when it gets started, but you can, restart with a fresh 7 days, right? At any time. And even that during that sort of that post access for the labs, so that most of the Microsoft labs come with that 6 months post access. During that time, you can, the students can go and restart again from within there. Right, yeah. So it is it's a restriction. As I said, I got asked it last week, so I thought I might just raise it again, because it's something that if you don't come across it very often, then it might be something that you need to do. Now, if someone has any other ideas as to kind of how to get around that, or how to kind of work that, then feel free to add that in as well. Norman, so how to fix a mouse that's non-responsive in the lab. So labs that build and basically you just can't do anything with it because the mouse doesn't work within it. So there's a couple of things that I can suggest. One is to reboot the virtual machine. right? And you can do that from outside of the virtual machine, using the controls in the Chrome to be able to do that. If that does, and so I've found in the circumstances where the mouse isn't working, I've found success with most times doing that. The other alternative is to change to a different browser. So one of those two things should generally solve that problem if you do have that issue. If not, then then it could be like there's a corrupt drive or something like that within within the VM. We stand up a new basically a new copy of the OS each time. So sometimes that will occur, but but that would be my two suggestions. And generally, I've found that's had some success with solving those. So, all right. So, any other questions? Now, I should say as well, say for instance, if you do have any of the, say for instance, there's things like that as an example that plague you a lot, then make sure you do report it as well. Maybe it's not one of those things you need to report necessarily at that point in time, because you're kind of in the throes of doing things to get your students in, etc. But if you can take a note of the instance, and at your leisure, obviously, so at the end of the day, that's like if it's something that's happening constantly, if you can let us know, because like so put a support ticket in just to report it, and then basically what that does is that gives us a way to try and trace down, for things that are intermittent, trying to do trying to do chase down what an intermittent issue is and then solve it. The more information you can give us, the better that is. But understanding that in the throes of the moment, you probably don't really want to. You don't want to be mucking about with that. You just simply want to get the student in. So, but if you do get a chance, that would be awesome. All right. Yeah. Thanks. So thanks, Norman. Okay. Yeah. So the I might just grab the link. So just if you reboot the VM but it doesn't come back online. So in other words, once you've rebooted, you can't get access to it. Is that what we're saying? I'm assuming that's what we're meaning. So with that, if that's the case, then generally it can take a little bit of time for it to be able to reconnect, but you can, and what will happen is you'll actually get a forced button to reconnect if it does that. Otherwise, you can try using. There is also up in the Chrome menu, so the menu of the lab Chrome. There's an option to be able to force the reconnect as well. So that would be my suggestion. But it can take some moments after the reboot to be able to then force to be able to do that for that reconnect to be able to go through. So maybe not straight away, but it certainly should. I haven't had a circumstance yet where it's completely not where it's completely not come back. That's not to say that it doesn't happen, but that would be my suggestion. Would be to basically use some of the use some of the tools to be able to force the reconnect, or be patient for the platform to time out and go, hey, I can't connect. Would you like to press reconnect? And then you press the reconnect button. So just dropped in for Shahab the link to where those updates are, so you can see when things are being published through and when they're coming out. So it kind of gives you a little bit of bit of the timeline, and so you can sort of see what we're working on and when they're coming out. So keep an eye on that, like sort of over over the month, with like the our lab team do update that as things are progressing through. So. All right, so hopefully, Jaspreet, maybe that's giving you some ideas. Fingers crossed that might help. The other alternative is because you're logged in. If you're logged in as a running a class, you can actually disconnect. So close down the browser, then come back in again. When you go to relaunch, you'll be back in where you'll be like the VM will still be there. So basically, just close the browser down. Don't exit out gracefully. Close the browser window that's holding the lab, and then relaunch the lab, and that should take you back to where it was. So try those two things. All right, we do have. Okay, so there was Jaspreet, there was your question, I'm assuming. So I just had a look to see the Q&A. I saw your hand up in the Q&A. So. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, if there's any other questions, feel free to drop them in. Otherwise, we might move on to. Let me grab my share again. And there we go. Okay, so this is our instructor recognition part, the where we get to recognize the achievements that you've had as instructors on the platform over the last month. So just some of the milestones that we've got since our last since the last time we met. So since March, we have had 163 people who have delivered their first class again on our platform, right? That are in there. As well as that, we've had 21 people that have reached their 25 classes. We've had 17 that have gone past 50 classes. We've got 6 that have delivered more than 100, and then we've got 1 that's delivered more than 250 classes. Now, if you are here for the first time, or you again may have forgotten this. The way that we count this is based off obviously things that are developed that are on our platform. If you have multiple accounts, the multiple accounts will cause problems, as in that because we don't necessarily know that there is one person versus another person that's on the platform. So one name, two people with the same name are still recognized as 2 people by the platform. If you do have that circumstance, so say particularly if you're a contract instructor and you deliver for multiple different companies, then you can reach out to Kristen. She loves getting this getting these details, and we can then work on the back end to be able to link your numbers together. So to make sure that you are you get the recognition that you do that you need. See, I said that Kristen loves it. And I did notice that Marcello is on the call. So particularly congrats, Marcello, calling you out for your 50 classes that you've delivered. So congratulations. So. All right, and our next one is for the number of students reached. Now, the students reached, again, we looked at to have, it's based off the number of people that we know that have been in your class on our platform, right? So the 154 people that have reached their first students. So that's always that that very you might remember back to your first class, right? Where they're very walking into the classroom going, "Oh, I hope I do well. I hope I do well. I hope I do well." Right, and then at the end of the week, you've done and it's over, and you're like, "I survived." Right. So congratulations to those 154 people that did that delivery. 50 students reached, so we had 73 people that were on there. I can see that we've got America is on the the call, and I know that Kamal has signed up, and so we'll probably listen to the recording for this afterwards. So congratulations to both of you, and a double congratulations to America for having reached not only 50 students, but then overachieving and going to the 100 students in the same month. So congratulations, well done. I think that's probably the first time we've had someone actually do on the students reached. I think that's the first time we've had someone who's actually got 2 milestones for students reached in the 1 month. We've certainly had someone who's been on the classes and the students badging in the same month, but I'm not sure that we've had two of the same same milestones in the same month. So huge congratulations. And then if we kind of like go all the way to the other end of the scale, right, where we had 14 people who have reached over 3,000 students. And so, you know, we kind of I don't think we've really got a mark that's above 3,000 students. Maybe we need to start looking at that, Kristen, like sort of if we've got folk that are up into the 6,000, maybe we need a new badge after this, right? See who we can get to 10,000, you know, for the first time. So, but yeah, that is definitely huge, right? And it's one of those things that it is always one of those moments where this gives you the opportunity to be able to kind of step back and see what the impact was that you've actually had, and how many folk you have actually how many folk you've actually made a difference, right? Because this is not just simply a number, right? This is people who you have affected in some way, shape, or form. So huge, well done, very, very, very good. Congratulations. So, all right, Norman, challenge is set, right? So that you'll be on your way to 3,000, and then we're just going to add more badges, so you've got more to achieve then, right? So keep going. So, all right. So just a reminder for our offers. So for the instructor offers, if you go to skillable.com/offers, you can sign up for a couple of different ways to get access to our platform, right? So we have obviously free access to be able to prep for any classes. If you're not a Microsoft or an AWS instructor or anything like that, but if you are signed up or signed to be able to do a class, as soon as you're assigned to do a class, you can run the labs for that class. So just a reminder on that, because it is something that I think some folk forget at times. That basically, as soon as the training center you're with, as soon as they assign you to a class, you can go in and start accessing as the instructor your class to be able to start doing your prep and using the platform to be able to work on. If you are a Microsoft certified trainer, or if you're an AWS trainer, we do have offers for both of you to our all access passes, which is for our challenge labs. So again, sign up on the skillable.com/offers page to be able to get access to that. In addition to that, we also have the instructor recognition, so you can opt in to be able to do the get to the badging that we've just looked at. So Norman, so if you practice on one of the 7-day tenant issues, be careful as you get that same tenant in the 7-day window, even if you end it. Okay, that's good to know. I understood that's not the way that should be working. So I'm going to take that as a bit of homework, because Norman, I'm not disbelieving you. I'm just saying that my understanding is that that's not how it should be working. So so I will make sure that I'll have a look into that to see if there's something that we can do to actually make it so you don't have to email support. Yeah, so like I understand the logic for it, but I don't believe that that's the way it's supposed to have been working. So I'll take that as some homework for me. So, but that is a very good point though. That if you are on that, like if you do have that issue, you can go and release it as well. So. That's a good point. So yeah, so if they release it by if the student releases it by accident, then they can get the same one back. Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe there is a balance into there. So, all right. Let me take it to the team and we'll see what we can do as a method to be able to make that process a little bit easier. Although by the sounds of it, like the help desk team and the support team are on it to be able to do it, to be able to do the release pretty quick. All right, but let me see what we can do as a workaround. All right. Perfect, excellent. I love to hear that some like the positive news about the help desk as well, because they do a fantastic job. So they're very good, very quick, and very onto support and that thing. So. All right. So just a reminder about the resources that are available as well. So make sure you bookmark all of these. And I know that there's going to magically appear a document shortly in the Docs tab, which will have these links in there as well. It's a voice-activated assigning of that doc. But otherwise, if you go to skillable.com/instructor recognition, instructor dashboard, right, that's the two main things for an instructor, that mock one that we talked about before. As well as that, we also do have a channel on Slack as well, where you can do some chatting within there. There you go. My voice-activated copy worked. But yes, so make sure you do that. As well as that, we do also have our feedback channel as well. So feedback.skillable.com. If you're curious of what happens with that feedback, last year we did a session with one of the internal team to sort of like see what happened or discuss what happens with those ideas as they progress through and from you making the suggestion to getting it to the point where it's actually deployed out as well. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us once again. There is also, as Kristen just pointed out, Kristen has just pointed out that there is a link to a survey if you want to share some thoughts about it. In addition to that, my ask as well is if there is someone that you want me to have a chat with, then also let me know of that as well. And I'll go and try and chase someone down to be able to have a chat, whether it's someone external to Skillable, whether it's someone internal to Skillable. Maybe you've got some curiosity around something that's some of the internal machinations within Skillable. Then I can chase someone down and pull them into a session to have a chat as well. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we will see you next month. Thank you very much.